And we are live. So, welcome to episode 291. That's a 2, a 9, and a 1 of An American Werewolf. I am Michael Martin, the American Werewolf. In the house tonight, we've got John K. Alvarez, and he says, I want to take a ride. I don't blame you. Apparently, it's a hell of a view. From where people are, as it applies to these particular things.
Seats may suck, but
indeed, yeah. So here we are in the second week of covering director Robert Zemeckis, and when I thought of Zemeckis, there were two movies I definitely wanted to do. One was Back to the Future, which we covered last week, and the other one is this one, and we're talking about Contact. So if you're ready to go, shall we begin?
Let's begin.
Why the hell not? So, and here we are again.
Oh, there we are. Good.
Yeah, there we are.
I was worried for a second.
No. So, I think as it applies to Zemeckis, one of the things that I have, it's one of the advantages of taking on an entire month of one director's films.
Right.
By the time I started to really think about it, because if you take one film here and then another director the next week, so on and so forth, you're kind of all over the place. But when you get to do 3 or 4 in a row, you start to notice patterns. And
Right.
I don't know if you would exactly consider it a theme, but I think something that runs through Zemeckis films is a sense of wonder.
Yes.
Whether it's director, and Bill was sort of talking about it last week, he's got these movies that are kind of all over the place, and, but, if you're talking about DeLoreans that go 88 miles per hour, or here, where we're looking to make First Contact, so on and so forth. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? We're going to cover the Polar Express. I mean, a real sense of just suspension of disbelief.
Right.
That this guy does so well.
He's you can definitely tell he's a child of the movies. Like, he loves the movie experience.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if he ever does a movie, and I'm showing my age now, when you would have it on the screen and it's the curtain, and all of a sudden the curtain opens up, and as the movie starts, he's a gifted storyteller in this. And wonder, I agree, is his theme throughout almost every movie he's done.
Yeah. This movie is based on a book by the same Carl Sagan. And I did a little bit of research, and It says the journey to adapt 1985's Contact from Carl Sagan into a film was long and turbulent. It lasted more than a decade. It said Sagan initially tried to develop it as a movie in the early 1980s before publishing the book. And if you ever get a chance to read Sagan's Contact, it is just a magical piece of literature, of science fiction literature. It's fantastic. I read it quite a long time ago. I was hoping to have been able to pull it out for this. I think it was another one of those books that didn't make the trip back to the U.S., but I found a used copy on Amazon for like $5, and it's on its way to me now.
There you go.
Let's see. By 1989, Warner Brothers acquired the rights, and producer Linda Obst hired writer Michael Goldenberg to pen a script. Roland Jaffe was attached to direct in the early 90s, but dropped out in 93. Zemeckis was then offered the gig, but passed, opting instead for an unmade project about Harry Houdini. George Miller from the Mad Max stories stepped in next, entering pre-production with interests from actress like Julia Roberts in the lead role of Ellie Arroway. However, Warner Brothers fired Miller in 95 amidst creative clashes. Zemeckis finally signed on later that year, drawn to the story's blend of science and human emotion, though he immediately rewrote the ending, rejecting Sagan's original angelic aliens putting on a light show, quote unquote, in favor of a more grounded faith versus science ambiguity. Sagan and his wife, Anne Druyan, who co-wrote the film's story outline, approved the changes during revision. Foster was Zemeckis' first brilliant but isolated astronomer. Foster, who was fresh off Nell, immersed herself deeply, even leaning into radio astronomy basics and collaborating on script tweaks to sharpen Ellie's scientific dialogue. Matthew McConaughey, then transitioning from legal thrillers, landed the role of Palmer Joss after impressing in his audition with a monologue on faith that mirrored the character's theologian vibe. Zemeckis later revealed in DVD commentaries that McConaughey's natural charisma added an unexpected romantic tension, evolving the dynamic between Ellie and Palmer beyond the novel's pages. I don't think that they have, I haven't read it in a long time, but I don't think that they have like a romance.
No.
It's just kind of like a friend,
right?
Who's there. Young Ellie was played by Jenna Malone. I didn't know that. I just watched this. I didn't know that that was Jenna Malone. Whose emotional range in the film's tragic opening sequences set the tone for the adult Foster's performance. Let's start off with you. Give me your initial thoughts of the film. Had you seen it before? I assume you had. Had you not seen it in a while? What did you think?
This is one of the movies I try to catch every time it's on. Like if I see it comes on and I'm not doing anything, I'm like, let me at least watch a little bit of it, only because it's, I genuinely like this type of movie. The fact where their questions are asked, and like we were just talking about it, wonder and wonderment is there, but it's not, it's grounded in the sense of realism.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I really enjoyed about this movie. They could have gone to extremes. The bad guys could have been comical, and even the good guys could have been two-dimensional. But throughout this whole movie, these are people that not only do you believe, but you know them. You met these people before. Like the wacky crew that works with Jodie Foster in the movie.
Yeah.
I know those guys. I've done just the comments that are coming out of their mouths. And that's what I think. And it goes to Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan takes, when I remember Carl Sagan on Nova.
Sure.
And shows like that.
PBS, yeah. Shout out to PBS.
He would take very big concepts and break them down for you. That all of a sudden you're going, oh, I get it, type deal.
Sure.
And that's what this movie did. They took a very big concept or concepts really, and broke it down that you could follow along, type deal.
I thought it was interesting because you and I both know that there are tons of first contact sort of movies out there. If you go down the list, I think this is in the top two.
Yes.
The only one that I would put up there with this is Arrival, which I
Right.
know we covered on the show. I don't remember if you were
Yes,
there
we did.
for that one. Denis Villeneuve's Arrival. I
Yep.
think those are the best two. But you've also got, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Exactly.
Close Encounters. We've covered that on here. You've
Right.
got E.T. You've got Starman.
Mhm.
Alien. Ridley Scott's Alien. We've got the old classic, The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Mhm.
We've got District 9. We've got The Thing. Carpenter, The Thing, which originally was The Thing from Outer Space, 1951
Right.
movie, like James Arness. But I think of all the films like that that are out there, this is in the top two. It's sort of fine down to this very smooth human story about this woman, this girl who is a particular way. She's, like the description said, she's very brilliant, but she's
Right.
very isolated. She's got like a fixation. I imagine like a lot of people that would be in this field of science would be,
Right.
kind of her against the world kind of
Mhm.
thing. And I think it's fantastically played by Jodie Foster. I couldn't see Julia Roberts playing this role.
I like a lot of actresses, but I've always liked Jodie Foster
Yeah.
a lot, and it's because it's the same thing. She brings that human quality to it.
Yeah, there's a very human, strong,
Yeah.
intelligent sort of thing that she brings to all of her roles. I just saw her about a month or so ago. I think I was talking about in the texting group. I was watching Spike Lee's Inside Man, where she's the fixer.
Yeah.
Operating on like every level, down on the street, all the way to the highest level of New York politics.
Yep.
Of course, we know her from Silence of the Lambs. Everything she's done is just fantastic. And
in this movie, there's a lot when you watch it. She says in the silence, without a word,
Yeah.
her reactions to what people are saying.
Yeah.
Especially when it's cutting into her or what she believes, type deal, where she doesn't scream, but you see it on her face. She wears it well.
Yeah.
And you need that type of performer to do this. That you're seeing the story that she's not telling you, type deal, and that's what makes it work.
Ellie Arroway is a very brilliant scientist who has lost both of her parents early in life. Her mother died in childbirth, so it's just been her and her father. Her father encourages her interest in science and mathematics very actively. Communication. I love the scenes where he's got her working on the radio. Where she's communicating, I guess, with truckers or other, and they've got maps up on the wall so she could like put a push pin in like every place that she's been able to communicate with. And then tragically, which sort of sets the tone for her character for the rest of the movie, her father dies while she's there. I guess he drops dead of a heart attack, or I think he dies of a heart attack and just dies like right in front of her.
Right.
And her, I love the scene she has, I guess, with the pastor or the priest at the reception in her home, and he's trying to explain to her, what is one of the religion is definitely a theme in this film.
Right.
He tries to explain to her, that you're not going to understand everything. It's just part of God's plan. And her response isn't to rebut him or to scream or to yell or anything like that. And she's angry. It's simply to say, I should have put some of the medicine downstairs. I could have gotten to it faster. She takes it upon herself.
Exactly.
And I don't even know if she's necessarily dismissing God. Maybe that's the first step into sort of becoming because she is an atheist. I would argue in this. And maybe that's like if it's going to be done, I have to do it.
Right. Exactly. And even those two themes which run through the movie and through the story, again, it goes to what I was saying before. It's not like they're at complete loggerheads. They're being discussed
Right.
and debated and showed value on both sides of
Yeah.
it.
Can
And
there
that's what
be a
seems to
blending?
that's what makes this work.
Yeah, can there be a blend? It doesn't have to be one or the other, although it sort of starts out that way in a congenial sort of, especially with
Mhm.
her and McConaughey. You know,
Yeah,
can this be synthesized? Can this be blended together? Can
right.
science and faith,
Yeah,
science and
exactly.
religion, coexist together?
Right.
Amiably at the end, and I think we do get the answer at the end. The answer is yes.
Right.
Hold on a second. We got a lot of comments here. Hold on. We got Slasher Fred. What's happening, man? And he says, I think that Contact is all about dealing with grief because Jodie Foster's character is coping with the grief and still feels a lot of guilt. He's talking about the death of her father.
Right.
It's amazing how this movie is all about alien contact because you also have Tom Skerritt, who was in the original Alien. And we'll get to Tom Skerritt. Your brother, Paul, John,
Yeah.
said something a long time ago about Tom Skerritt. And he said he always plays a jerk.
Right.
And boy, is he a jerk in this one. But hold on. We'll get to that. If you guys ever watched the trailer to Contact, the sound of the radio signal is a very slow burn and suspenseful sound.
Right.
I don't remember that. Okay.
I do. Yeah, I do.
And of course, Jodie Foster was known for playing Clarice. Okay.
That's right.
Actually, it's the thing from another world. Okay.
Thank you.
We got witness protection.
we
Thank
go.
you for stopping in. I like Contact. It's really cool. She was from De Pere, magna cum laude. I really like to shout out. Go, Oshkosh Titans. All right.
That's funny.
No one expected on Earth that First Contact was a hypnotic Bollywood music video. Okay, yeah, you're right. We didn't expect that.
That's right.
One of Jodie Foster's first films was Alice Doesn't Live Here, and he played the role of a street smart kid.
That's right.
What was the other movie she did as a kid?
Taxi driver.
It was Taxi. That's right. It was Taxi. I kept thinking it was something with Ryan O'Neal, but no, it was Taxi Driver. Yeah.
Yes. Dude, I remember a show from the Partridge Family where she played Danny Partridge's love interest for one show.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, she was the original. What's the sun lotion where you see the girl's bathing suit getting pulled by a dog?
Oh, Coppertone.
She was the original Coppertone kid.
Oh, was she really?
Yeah,
Okay.
but she's been doing this for a while, and the level of degrees that she brings in. I mean, if you ever do a movie on I'm trying to remember the guy who directed the Lethal Weapon movies.
Oh, Richard Donner.
If you ever do him, you have to do Maverick.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
for her,
Oh,
Mel
yeah, she's-
Gibson,
yeah,
and James Gardner.
Yeah.
I mean, she adapts her style to almost every type of acting and directing style there is.
Yeah.
I really do like her as a performer.
She's even done foreign film. I've seen her do foreign film where she only speaks French. I've seen her do French films. The guy who, the guy who directed Amelie, Audrey Tautou. She did another French film called A Very Long Spring. And she's in that. She plays. I can't remember. She plays a French woman, but like the entire thing is just done in French. So I mean, there's not much she can't do. But speaking of that, and we got into him a couple of weeks ago. You got Matthew McConaughey here.
Yep.
And I like McConaughey's character very much. As this sort of earthy, Southern theologian. Guy drops out of divinity school, and now he just kind of roams around, going from place to place, and sort of confronts her about her lack of faith. He's got a very strong belief in God. He said, I wouldn't want to live in a world where I didn't believe in God, or where you proved that God didn't exist. And they've got a great chemistry together.
Yes, they do.
Without it being confrontational. It's a respectful kind of disagreement.
And that's what I liked about it the most.
Yeah, because later in the movie, you've got Rob Lowe, who's in there. He's only in it for like 5 minutes, and he just plays a jerk. They're talking about whether the aliens believe in God. So we're jumping a little bit ahead. But what ends up happening is She's still, as an adult now, trying to make contact through, guess what? And it's not Independence Day. There's no action. There's no horror. There's no suspense. Well, there's suspense, but she's trying to make radio contact.
And that's the.
signal.
I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry about that. No, that's the one thing about this movie. When it starts unfolding, you don't think like you said, it's not Independence Day. It's not, but it's also kind of like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where the suspense builds, and as it gets closer and closer and closer to the pinnacle point, you're almost at the edge of your seat in this movie.
Yeah,
they really do. Zemeckis, as a director, takes the story and builds it naturally. That tension,
yeah,
that anxiety, that thrill.
It's organic because she's consistently having to deal with having her, because she's a scientist. So it's not like she's trying to cure cancer. She's on this fringe sort of thing. It's not a mainstream sort of scientific pursuit. She's constantly having her funding cut.
Right.
People just make fun of her and laugh at her behind her back. She's got like the head of, and this is played to perfection by Tom Skerritt.
Oh God.
Who's like her boss of sorts. Who's kind of, he's a bureaucrat. He's like more like a bureaucrat than a scientist.
Right.
And he's just kind of a dick all the time to her, and he cuts her funding here and cuts her funding there, and he just thinks it's a big waste of time. And then she makes the discovery, and because she's completely naive about politics, he just steps right in and kind of takes all the credit. It's incredibly douchey, and the way that he does it is just so breathtakingly smooth.
Right.
That, we're talking the late 90s. We're seeing, I guess this is maybe Zemeckis' version of AI.
Right.
You're watching Clinton up there again, at the podium, making speeches, and I'm like, oh God, it's Bill Clinton. We haven't seen him in 25 years.
I mean, and it's funny because this is what I was talking about when she was showing her emotion without saying the word.
Yeah.
You saw him do that, the hurt, the hand pushing her back.
Yeah.
As she's trying to go forward.
The betrayal, she finally has her moment of success, and he steals it from her.
Uh-huh.
And, this is one of the first, this sort of movie is about, first contact, alien, so on. But the story, I think, out of all the ones that I listed earlier, this story is the most human.
Yeah. And that's what I think is one of the selling points of the movie. They're approaching it like humans, normal type deal. I love, I'm trying to remember the character's name, the one who's blind.
William Fichtner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love his character.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's wondering between either the religion or the science what's out there. Here's a guy who's blind, and he sees more than everybody by just hearing it.
Yeah.
He sees what's going on. But, heaven forbid, because he just sits and pays attention to things. Yeah. And I love that as a character, as part of the story that's driving it. One of the people on her side, as it were.
And the funny thing is that, well, it's not really funny. It's that her sort of thing about being alone, like the way she pushes Matthew McConaughey away, like they have that one night when they hook up when they first meet, and then he's like, please call me. And, she kind of pushes him away because she's sort of damaged by her experiences losing her father.
Right.
And in a way, it's sort of, her story too, in that she has to stop shutting people out.
Right.
She has to start to let people in, whether it's her friend, Ken, played by William Fichtner, the blind guy, whether it's Palmer Joss, or whoever else it is, whether it's William Hurt, John Hurt,
Yes,
as oh God, HR as Haddon,
that's right.
who just is fantastic at this, and another guy who steals, I think,
Every scene he's in.
Yeah, every time she gets screwed over, it's like she has a guardian angel in the form of this industrialist sort of scientist who like everybody hates. Like the whole world seems to hate, at least major governments, and he said even a few religious leaders who wouldn't mind seeing him depart the earth, but he keeps dealing her back in because she's like a fish out of water here.
Right.
But for every time she gets screwed over, he manages to feed her something that gets her back at the table again.
Well, like when she first goes to apply for the money.
Yes.
And
yes.
he's there. And she stops doing the speech, but starts speaking from her heart type deal, saying about the airplane and about this.
Stupid,
and that's what I think when he steps in, because he's similar to him, type deal. But instead of not having the money, he does. He's like, let's see how far you can go. I mean, I loved that he took the time to, I don't want to say invest in a dreamer, because it really wasn't a dreamer. It was somebody who was saying, this is the next step.
He invested in her. Yeah, he invested in her. Yeah.
He turned around and went, okay. Yeah. And I love that scene where she looks at the camera and smiles and says, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I loved that because it was also very human. And it was like somebody going, I've been to all you people. Why can't you see this?
I'll tell you something, man. We've been here for 26 minutes talking about content. We haven't mentioned aliens once.
I know.
Haven't mentioned a single alien one time. We're talking about the characters. It's such a great script.
Yep.
These are fantastic performances. I love everybody in this. I love James Woods as the NSA.
Oh, God.
The National Security Advisor. He's just great as this cynical sort of, he's a little afraid that, Martians are going to come flying out of the computer screen any time now. It's going to be War of the Worlds.
I like that. Nice to smell you again, sir.
I would have figured it for a polo, man.
Yeah. It was so funny.
Yeah.
But, I mean, even when he saw Hitler on the videotape, on the one signal coming in on it, and his reaction, I remember seeing it the first time, and I busted out laughing.
When he motions for those troops to come back in, when she first steps in, could you ask these men with the guns to leave, please? The minute he sees Hitler, he's like, get back in here.
Get back in there, yeah. And it's one of James Woods' best. I mean, everybody that's in this movie, and it's a tribute to the concept of a cast telling the story.
It's an ensemble, yeah.
Yeah, everybody. Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett is in it.
I mean, Jake.
Jake Busey. As the religion.
I mean, you mentioned Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe's on for 5 minutes. By the time he was done, I hated him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You had to hate. It's like what Rod always says.
Yeah, he's doing his
job. The character, they're doing their job.
Yeah, he's doing his job. You're supposed to hate him. I hate him. He did a good job. That's it. Yeah.
And I love that. It's the story itself is a good story told very well, and all of this goes back to Zemeckis' hand.
Yeah. Hold on.
As the director.
Let's get back to some more comments. We got Friday who said this movie also uses archive footage of Bill Clinton when doing the scene in the newsroom.
Yep.
I think so. Yes, it's like NBC recorded former President Clinton making statements, and it was just put into the cut. Now we would see more of this by the time he gets to Forrest Gump, which I think was
this was after Gump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, where you would have JFK up there, or Nixon, or Johnson, or you'd see Lieutenant Gary Sinise with no legs. I think we were talking about that last week. I think it was Rob Zombie who watched this movie. He's like, who the hell is this guy with no legs? This guy can act his ass off, and he said that's what CGI was supposed to be, just this very small thing, that can.
I remember when this movie came out and the section where Bill Clinton makes that little speech, people freaked out.
Yeah.
And It was funny. They said we just used the footage and stuck in the words.
Yeah, we had CNN.
Yeah.
All the CNN people were there.
Yeah. Come on,
uh,
Brian Gumble. Come on now.
not Brian. Who was Larry King?
Larry King was there.
Larry
Brian
King was
Gumble was
there.
in it.
All the hot shots from the '90s were there in this movie, playing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
By and large, hold on a second. I like the Netflix film Arrival. Yeah, that's a good one. That's that.
Yes.
We were talking about that earlier, Witness, and I put that in the top two along with this one.
Absolutely.
Because again,
Yes.
like that one, the story is human. Like
Right.
this, the story is human. I love Ridley Scott's Alien. At some point, we're going to cover a month of Ridley Scott. I'll tell you now, Alien's going to be maybe the first one that we cover for that month. But it's not the human story like this is.
Yeah.
Close Encounters is kind of close.
Yeah. It's when you approach Christ, even E.T., if you look at it, Spielberg said, you could have made it adults, but he said, what would happen if a 12-year-old boy who was hurting in that movie, his father had died or was a divorce or something, and he sees an alien.
Yeah.
There is that. It's the humanistic feelings that are in these movies.
So, the signals, after so much struggle and back and forth, and, she finally gets the signal, the signal is coming in. And I love that, they start to use it. I'm not a scientist, but I love that they're using, like, the signal is coming in prime numbers.
Yes.
1, was it 3? And it just
1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, and they go all the way up to
101. It keeps on going. Very, very intelligent. It's like lay people science. You don't have to be, an astrophysicist to understand it. But it's just scientific enough that you're like, okay, I'm watching something that, they took a little time with to write.
Right.
Or, at least Sagan did.
Right. Because that's how I think someone would try to make a communication, a universal. Yeah. As opposed to language, like verbal, it would be math.
And then, because Matt, that's one of James Woods' questions. Why didn't they just say it in English? And she's like, because 70% of the world speaks another language.
Right.
This is the only real universal language. So the government steps in, and like the army and, the president, wants to, be up on things. They sort of commandeer it away from her because Tom Skerritt's the bureaucrat, and he kind of takes the whole project, and Haddon's dealing her back in here and there. And I also love how once it hits the news,
oh God, yeah,
the entire area where they're doing the work turns into a big fish show.
Exactly.
Like everybody, hail to Vega, hail, they're, all this, and you're just like, oh God, spirit.
My favorite sign was alien abduction insurance sold here. I laughed out loud, even just watching it this time, because that's such a great line. I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's capitalism. This is America, man. Yeah.
And of course, Spirit in the Sky is playing.
Of course, yeah. All the old hippies are out there. Finally, something's going to happen.
I love that. I love the fact that all they had was Jodie Foster rolls up the window.
Yeah, and that's interesting too. In that you mentioned that Jake Busey is in this, and Jake Busey plays a. I guess it's like almost the cow, like this is evil, his stance on, because you've got like a spectrum of religion or a spectrum of faith here. You can have maybe, Palmer Joss, McConaughey on one end, and maybe in the middle you've got Rob Lowe is just kind of a jerk. He's using religion to move political polls.
Right.
Because he's like, the president's numbers are going to go south like a duck in winter on this if, you don't give me this and this. And, he wants something. It's transactional
Right.
He's using religion to get something. And then you've got, someone like Jake Busey.
Who,
It's almost like a David Koresh kind of character. You can tell that he intends violence. He's dangerous looking. You can tell right away there's something off with him, not just because he's Jake Busey, who always looks a little off if you ask me. But yeah, I mean, it's like a full spectrum.
He's the extreme.
Yeah, he's the extremist, the religious extremist, who's willing to and achieves a violent end or violent methods, to achieve his end, which is to shut down this.
You are all not worthy.
Which is about building a ship to go travel to where the signal is coming from. He very much reminds me of Marcia Gay Harden in The Mist.
Yes,
plays Mother Carmody, and she uses it to like apocalypse. This is the apocalypse. We're all gonna die, and expiation, and you're just like.
In the scene where Jodie Foster is driving through, and if you hear him, he's telling him, "Are you worthy enough?" I don't think you are. The Jake Busey character. He was basically saying, "We're not good enough for this. You're not good enough for this." That's why I think he wanted to bring it to a close. He really was the extreme of Matthew McConaughey. I mean, if you're going to look at the two characters, they were like, one was on one side of the coin, the other was in another change box.
This is 1997, but I mean, this doesn't stream very much. I should say it really isn't streaming anywhere. You might find a copy somewhere. I've had this on DVD, and then I had it on. I had it on VHS before that, and now I have it on Blu-ray. But it's one of those things you have to pay the $3 for. So I appreciate that. You getting the chance, you're doing that. I appreciate it very much. To join me on here for this.
Well, it's if you think about it, it's not your typical meet an aliens movie.
No,
so to speak. I mean, it's not Independence Day.
No, there's no gore. There's no there's no shootouts or anything like that. It's all very intelligently done.
And very philosophical.
Yeah, it's very philosophical. Trying to reconcile science and faith together, and those things coexist. It's about bureaucracy. People who just lie and cheat and steal their way into their positions. Versus, and there's a great scene in there where Tom Skerritt says, because he's stolen her spot. After he steals the project, he actually steals her seat to go.
Right.
Which is just one of the most underhanded things I've ever seen. Maybe I'm jumping a little all over the place here, but there's a conversation where he tells her, I'm sure you all think this is very unfair. That this isn't, but that isn't the world that we live in. That sort of faith and that good-heartedness and that honesty, it's rewarded. We don't live in that kind of world. And she just kind of looks at him, and I think for the first time she kind of sees him, who he really is.
Who he is.
And she's just like, well, I always kind of believe the world is what you make it.
Right.
And like he doesn't know what to say to that.
Right.
And it's funny because I was just listening to a podcast today, and someone was mentioning Jordan Peterson, and he has this thing where he says, nobody ever really gets away with anything.
True.
Nobody gets away with anything. Like you may think that you've gotten over with something, and no one, phenomenologically saw you do it, or you committed a crime and you didn't get arrested. He goes, but you haven't gotten away. Like it's eating away at you, it's eating away at your spirit. It's eating away at your soul. And I think in that moment when she tells him it's what you made it out to be, You
Right.
know, like you're not just going along. Like you've
Yeah.
done this. You know, you've
Yeah.
turned into a big piece of shit.
You stepped into this and, you took it away from me after laughing at me, you
Yeah,
know.
you took it away from me. But how can I phrase this? Um, yeah, I can't even think of the way that I want to phrase it right now. You know, like you took it, but yeah, I kind of see you for what you are, and
Yeah.
it's almost like she kind of feels bad for him.
Yeah.
I got that
Because what
impression. Like she almost kind of feels bad for him.
if she turned around and said, "What happened to you?" I wouldn't be surprised because he was probably like her, in the beginning,
Maybe.
and then turned around and became the bureaucrat.
You know, I mean, we know enough now, you know, about politics that you can't rise above a certain level for the most part, that 99 out
Right.
of 100 times, without so many compromises that by the time you end up where you want to be, you don't even recognize yourself anymore.
And the thing about it is, when she saw him in danger later on in the movie, the Jodie Foster character warned him
Yeah.
when he was on this. I mean, that's the thing. She's the true believer.
Yeah.
No matter what you would say, she's putting her faith in. I mean, the one thing about this movie that they asked, they want to know what's out there in one form or another. And she's one of the true believers. She genuinely wants to know. Everybody else sees it as like Rob Lowe, using it to bolster himself or herself. It's when you get the true believers and they're honest about it,
Yeah. Like they were originally going to send an astronaut, you know, and
Right.
his family convinces him, like, you know, we don't want you to go, you know, this, that, or the other. You know,
Yeah.
Tom Skerritt kind of slides in, and yet at the same time, like he ends up getting killed,
Right.
you know, because Jake
I'm
Busey's
talking about the
character,
title.
you know, the religious extremism.
Right.
You know, he ends up like detonating a bomb in the inside the ship.
Yeah.
And
And
so, you know, it's almost a just dessert, and yet at the same time, I have sympathy for Tom Skerritt
same
because
here.
he deserved to die.
Exactly.
Like
And again, this goes back to Zemeckis telling the story.
he
Helming it.
humanizes him. He humanized him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not a
That's
hero.
what.
But
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the word. I think everybody's humanized in this
Yeah.
movie.
yeah,
They're not caricatures of people.
no, there are no perfect characters. Jodie Foster's character is very flawed.
Right.
Very flawed, naive, isolated, stubbornly isolated
Hmm.
person. She refuses to, you know, see anything outside the lens of science.
Exactly.
You know, like she's unwilling. You know, and,
Right.
and that's initially one of the things that trips her up. Is her, you know, because she gets asked during the selection period about her religious faith, and she's like, I don't see what the point of that question is. And the other man says, well, you know, 95% of the world's population believe in some sort of higher power or another.
Right.
You know, can you really say that you represent us if you think that 95% of everybody is just, you know, off the rocker on something?
Exactly.
You know, so she's a flawed character. You know, McConaughey, you know, is a flawed character. You know, everybody in there. They're just very human.
Everybody but the blind guy.
Yeah, he
Sorry.
has no flaws. He has no flaws. No argument there.
Oh God, yeah. And then we get John Hurt again.
Well, he comes in to save the day, and of course, you know, as the government saying goes, why build one when you can build two at
Build
twice the
two.
price?
I really laughed out loud. I got to watch this movie with my father, who
Okay,
really truly believed that there was something out there.
sure.
And as he's watching this movie, he wasn't just laughing at a funny joke. He's laughing because he was shaking his head. Oh, this is so true. You
Yeah.
know, and I'm sorry when every time I see, I love John Hurt in this movie.
Short of them arriving here, like we saw in Arrival, this is probably the most accurate representation of what would happen if we had to go to them. You'd have
Right.
people climbing over top of each other. There'd be politics. There'd be religious mania. Every
Exactly.
conceivable, the Looney Tunes would show up right outside Area 51. This
Yep.
is an accurate, I think, a very human and accurate representation of what it would be like if it got on all the news channels tomorrow that aliens have contacted us and they want us to build a ship and come see them.
Exactly.
In the end, she goes.
Yep.
She has I thought it was a very cool experience.
Exactly.
Where she ends up going, she sees, and I love that the aliens at no time become alarming. They're almost like like I said, they're almost an afterthought. We've barely discussed any aliens.
Exactly.
And they present themselves to her in the image of her father, who is probably the archetype, male figure that, she's never been able to replace or been willing to replace.
Right.
And tells her that, this is just the first step. There's going to be others. Small steps.
Exactly.
He uses like all of her father's phrasing like that. Somehow they access her consciousness and, small steps.
Exactly.
We'll, this is just the first one. We don't know everything ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And, we'll be in touch. We'll be in touch. We've opened the line now.
Right. And I love the fact that they admit the transportation system she used.
Yeah.
They even said we didn't invent it. We found it.
We found it.
Know,
maybe the people who built it one day will come back and, talk to us about it.
It's like you're seeing the levels of what could be there.
Yeah.
I also loved in that one scene when she said, I don't have the words, they should have sent a poet.
Yeah.
I mean, when she realized it's beyond her scientific mind. I really enjoyed that.
Hold on, that's interesting because I want to talk about that a little bit. But the special effects, even that opening scene, where you go like it's just that draw out shot, from and they're playing like the Spice Girls, and then next thing you know you're at another planet, and then another, and then you're outside the solar system, and then you're outside the galaxy. And you see that there are all these different galaxies.
Right.
And, hold on, it says Contact pushed 90s VFX boundaries, earning an Oscar nomination for its seamless integration of practical and digital work, industrial light magic, and Sony Pictures ImageWorks handling the heavy lifting, with supervisors Ken Ralston and Steven Rosenbaum overseeing the then record 18-minute unbroken CGI sequence of Ellie's wormhole journey. There you go. Right. The longest continuous digital shot in film history until 2004. Mm-hmm. Iconic opening zoom out from Earth, which we just started about, starting with the Warner Brothers logo, used a custom dim logo variant because the standard one was too bright for the Cosmic Dawn sequence. Kodak Vision stocks captured the 231-1 anamorphic frame, blending Super 8mm and Betacam for gritty realism in Ellie's early broadcasts.
Exactly.
The technical feat is the mirror shot. Yeah, I forgot about that mirror shot. Oh man, where she's running to get the medicine. During Ellie's desperate attempt to save her dying father, the camera follows her upstairs to the bathroom medicine cabinet, grabs pills via the mirror's reflection, then whips 360 degrees downstairs, all in one unbroken take.
Yep.
Zemeckis slowed the corridor section for emotional delay, but pulling it off required a rotating set piece. The entire bathroom wall spun on a massive pivot, while the camera, mounted on a custom rig, stayed locked on the mirror. Foster's adult face echoed this with repeated hand close-ups, symbolizing human potential amid dreams and nightmares. Behind-the-scenes YouTube clip from ILM details the composting, showing how high-speed rigs and green screen extensions made the impossible feel visceral. A lot of fantastic cinematography in this, a lot of fantastic special effects. Yeah, CGI, and yet it's not the whole film.
No, it still comes down to the performers.
Yeah, most of them are done at these different arrays, the locations. Hold on, did they have? I saw something about the locations. Well, I mean, like they were in Japan. They were at that place in New Mexico, Pensacola, Florida. You know, they really went to all those different set locations. So, I mean, it's a winner, man. It's a winner. And then, you know,
it really is.
To be reconciled at the end with her having to ask people to take what she saw on faith because it isn't captured on camera.
Right.
It's a really humbling thing.
Exactly.
You know, in that she has sort of dismissed other people's faith, not in a mean-spirited way.
No.
But just saying, you know, like what McConaughey says that he experienced God. She's like, do you think that maybe that was something that your subconscious needed to have?
Right.
You know, that sort of thing. It's very respectful to just having pillow talk. And then by the end of the film, she has an experience that she can't prove.
And she's asking you to believe me.
Yeah, I'm asking you to believe me. All of my gut asks me, everything in my gut tells me that this was real.
Right.
And everybody, like James Woods, is like all over her about it, you know, in the hearings, you know, the Senate hearings and whatever. And, you know.
Which I think was on purpose.
Yeah. She has to ask for grace, you know, for understanding, for people to believe her, which McConaughey says he does.
Mm-hmm. When that scene where she walks out with McConaughey, and you see all those people, and they're not saying a word because they want to know. It's and that was the thing throughout this whole movie, the what's beyond this type deal, either on a spiritual level, on a scientific level, and I love that. So when McConaughey says, personally, I believe in her. What's the first thing she does? She reaches out and grabs his hand.
Touches his hand. Yeah, she holds his hand. Yeah,
she reaches out to him.
Yeah.
Finally, you know, and I'm like, and I'm like, man, that's a good shot.
That's great storytelling. It's showing you. It's not telling you. You know, her character comes full circle.
Yep.
It's aces, man. You know, and like I was saying at the beginning, you know, that sense of wonder that, you know, I've discovered watching a couple of Zemeckis films in a row.
Right.
You know, you have an opportunity to see some consistency. You know, where you know, some things. You're like, okay, this is repeating. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, even when you like, I was watching a something on YouTube and someone was talking about the music. They turned around and said the music in the movie was somewhat reminded them of Forrest Gump.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because it was the light piano and you know.
Sure.
But then again, even with Gump, it was that sense of even on him being someone who was below average IQ, it was the wonderment of the world that was in front of him.
Yeah, he saw it through the eyes of a child.
Right. I mean, this is now seeing the wonderment of the universe, even as an adult, where we would be children to these people.
And also the acceptance that, you know, there's a great line when she sees her father again, you know, during the visitation. And he says, you know, in all our searching, the only thing that makes everything bearable is each other.
Right.
You know, like this thing, you know, in the way that she's lived, you know, and so isolated, probably would not have happened if her father had passed. And maybe if she had heard it from anything other than her father, it wouldn't have registered the same way.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
and you know, like you said, she's reaching out to make connection.
Right.
You know, by the end of the film, you know, because, you know, this is her chance maybe to speak to her father again in a strange sense.
Right.
You know? And what did he tell her? Yeah, you need other people. You know, you're not an island.
And when she says it to the children at the end, it says her father's phrase, you know, if it was only us, it'd be a big waste of space.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Carl Sagan, I remember seeing him give a lecture where he turned around and said, if aliens were like making contact, do you think the government would be right to keep it away from the people? And he said, I wish they would tell them. because he honestly believed the concept of the countries would be broken down. We'd all see each other finally as Earthlings.
It's possible. I mean, I guess it would depend on the way that we were approached.
Right.
You know, if we were approached through a radio signal, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you know what? Probably not. The ambiguity of a radio signal would probably there'd be a scramble. You remember?
That'll be a podcast.
You remember what happens in Arrival? Like all the different countries don't want to share information.
Right.
They want you keep this, and China doesn't give us this, and England has this, and maybe we'll share this with France over here. It becomes a very divided thing, which almost leads to, I think, like the Chinese fire on the ship.
Right.
It almost starts a nuclear war. Like there's going to be like a big planetary catastrophe. So, I think the thing that would actually unite us, I hate to say it, would be like some of the more extreme movies we've seen, like Independence Day.
Yeah, could be.
That would be that would you'd need something like that at this point. Jesus.
Just as long as it's not to serve man from outer limits. That's that'd be the one I'd be worried about the most.
Yeah, I understand. All right, let's start to wrap this up. Is there anything, because we've gone 56 minutes. Is there anything about this film that you would like to discuss that we have not covered?
The only thing, I mean, we've pretty much discussed it. Everybody who even played the minor parts, should really be highlighted in this.
Yeah,
this is definitely one of the times when they say it's not the part, it's the actor.
Yeah,
or absolutely. There's no small parts. There's no small, only small actor. Angela Bassett and James Wood, that scene at the end, which is only like, what, 90 seconds?
Yeah.
And it's the two of them.
Yes.
I show that to acting classes and say, and this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When you're talking about connecting with a conversation.
All he keeps saying is continue.
Yeah. And there's so much in that, so much weight in that word.
Yeah. Continue.
And I'm going,
Yep. Doing nothing.
Isn't it interesting? There's 18 hours of it. Yeah, that is interesting.
It is interesting.
Oh, my God.
Yep. That's I remember, I think when we were covering The Changeling, we were talking about George C. Scott, doing nothing but making it look interesting.
Yeah. These guys, I mean, it's normal dialogue, and it's everybody in it. Like we were talking, from Rob Lowe to, Busey to everybody. It's just a well-rounded cast that worked.
Yeah, Jake Busey is usually playing some goofball. Here, he's in a more serious role, and he does it well, playing.
Jake scared the hell out of me when I first saw him in this movie.
Yeah, very, like I said, very much a Koresh kind of, apocalyptic, figure. Yeah, that's.
I really thought it was his father, and they just CGI'd him to look like Jake.
Let's not get that scary. That's all we need.
Yeah,
the apocalypse. All right, let's get to the part in the scene where we rate the film. This channel has a rating system that goes from 0 to 5 up by halves. So 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, all the way to 5. So 0, for example, would be I'd rather have somebody ladle cold diarrhea in my ear than watch this movie again, all the way to 5, which is this is the journey, this is the destination, this is why I watch films in the first place. What would you give Robert Zemeckis' Contact?
I would give it a 4.5.
Okay.
I don't think it's art, but I do think it's artistic intellectualism.
Okay.
It makes you think.
Sure it does. Sure.
That's the point behind it.
Okay. I'm going to go with, I think, a 4.5. Yeah. Is it Ben-Hur? No. Is it Apocalypse Now? No. Is it The Dark Knight? No. Is it very intelligent entertainment just on the threshold of really breaking into, that final level? Absolutely. Very much a 4.5.
Yeah.
If somebody were to say 5, I wouldn't be like, really? You think it's a
No,
5?
yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. But to me, it's right there, just right on the edge.
Yeah, yeah. All right. John, you had something you wanted to discuss.
Yeah, this weekend coming up, I've pushed this guy before, but there's now two companies that I've actually worked with and worked for. They're presenting two different original holiday stories at the oh wait, wait, where exactly where are you guys at? Studio Space in Summers Point, New Jersey.
Do you want me to read the flyer?
I'm reading it right now.
Okay.
It's this
Okay,
Friday it's at 8, Saturday the 13th it's at 2 and 4, with the one at 2 p.m. being a live stream if you wanted to actually watch it on live stream.
Okay.
And Sunday at 2. These two companies, I know both playwrights, Bill Skerritt and Jeff Dunn. Jeff Dunn I actually worked with working on some of his plays as a writer. These are two really good shows, and if you're in the area, support local theater, because these are two hardworking groups that that can get swallowed up in the areas with the casinos and bigger theater companies. So I really am pushing them for this weekend.
Okay. And
Thank
it
you.
looks like they're doing Big Louie is coming to town and Magic Flowers. So all tickets are $20. Visit Studio Spaces pnj.com for information. Studio Spaces pnj.com for information. Advance tickets on Eventbrite and for live stream tickets. Reservations at 323. There's a phone number 323-793-2153 or at SPQR Stage Co. That's CO at AOL.com. Cash only at the door. And that's at Studio Space 112 Woodland Avenue in Summers Point, New Jersey, across from the Crab Shack. So come out there and make it if you can, and support your local theater.
Absolutely.
For this channel, we will be finished. Next week will be the last show of the year of 2025. It's been a great year. We will be covering the final Zemeckis film because after that we'll be going into the holidays for Christmas and New Year's. And our Christmas film is going to be Robert Zemeckis' The Polar Express, which I have never seen before. I don't know anything about it. I'm very much looking forward to it. I hope we get a good turnout for that one. It will be next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So please join us for that final show of 2025. Robert Zemeckis' The Polar Express.
Absolutely. It's a very good show.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. All right, my thanks to John K. Alvarez. He wanted to take a ride. I hope it was a good one.
It was a good ride, baby.
And we will see you all in the next video. All right, take care, everyone. God